I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Catch Me If You Can is over. I am the second mouse.
Wait. Are you saying I'm the first mouse?
You drowned.
Are you saying I drowned?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I churned butter with my wee tiny feet, and I escaped, and you drowned.
He didn't mention that the second mouse had to actually climb onto the body of his dead comrade.
That's just a viscerally awful story now. It's awful. We're still in our True Lies series. This is our second member bonus inside of the True Lies series. We're talking about films built around real people who lied, fabricated, or otherwise constructed false identities, and what movies do with those stories. And this one, well, let's be honest. I feel like at the end of the series, I'm just throwing you a bone by including this one on the list of things people could vote for. It's like everything for you.
And everybody voted for it. So it's a thrill. It's a thrill that we get to add Catch Me If You Can to our list. We didn't have to return to the Tom Hanks series to get it in here. Here it is. It's actually a great series for this film because it's an interesting one. And in the scope of our conversation about everything that we've discussed in the True Lies series, with all the different liars and how difficult it can be for a film to make us identify with a protagonist who is just a terrible person. This is another one in the line that makes you kind of find ways to connect with the character. And I thought that was great.
Find ways to connect with the character. And the thing that I keep just jockeying around in my head is the fact that the protagonist, Frank Abagnale Jr., when the movie was made, it was based on his biography. And it was after the movie came out that another journalist, Alan Logan, spent years uncovering that just about everything that was in the biography was also fabricated.
Yes.
Right. I mean, he was definitely a check fraud. That he was good at that. But that he wasn't a doctor and an attorney and a Pan Am pilot. And I find that fascinating about this story, that he's a fraud who had a movie made about him, and it turns out he's only partially the fraud that he made himself out to be, which by definition makes him more of a fraud.
Exactly. That's what's so fascinating about it is that this person has become such a hoaxer,
Yes.
by duping everybody and getting them to make this movie about him. Like, it makes me wonder in the conversations that he had on set, because he was on, he plays the French police inspector who is there when they're arresting Frank. It makes me wonder, what were the conversations like when Leonardo was inevitably asking him questions to kind of probe deeper into the character so that he could find the character himself and perform it? Does he just recognize he's just telling all of these people more lies and just going along with it? It's crazy to me that all of this kind of came out, that he's, as he says, the world's greatest con man.
Yeah. It turns out that's his greatest con.
Yeah.
Is convincing everybody he's the world's greatest con man.
Yeah, right. I mean, think of all the money he's made from royalties from his book, speaking engagements, all of this sort of thing.
Yeah. It's extraordinary. Where is he right now? So I know he just the real guy. One thing I know about him, and one of the reasons I'm interested in talking about this movie and was interested in exploring more about him, is that when all of this came out, right, and it says it in the title card at the end, he moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and was there for a long time, where he lived down the street from my parents.
Oh.
And it is a great shame on my part that I was not able to reach my mother in time to talk about Frank and Frank's role in the neighborhood before this recording. I did call her multiple times. She apparently is quite busy. And so I don't have that story, but I'm deeply fascinated by the fact that Frank was a neighbor.
That's really interesting. Yeah. And now he's living in South Carolina with his wife and children.
Right. That's right.
It's a fascinating story. And all of the real story about Frank, we just have to, it's interesting. We have to acknowledge that that's there. And then we just have to look at this film for what it is, because it's a fascinating film. And, it does make me wonder, because Frank Abagnale did come out after the film was released. Because, inevitably people want to know, well, what did they get wrong? What did they change? And he talks about all these things. They're like, well, they did this and they did this and they changed this and that. And it just makes me wonder if he's keeping more lies in his, he has to keep track of a lot of things to be able to say that they changed something, when in reality, he probably also made that up.
An extraordinary cognitive feat to be able to carry around the volume of lies.
Oh,
here's the meta question that I've been thinking about, right? Spielberg, his parents divorced when he was an older teenager, and that was a huge impact on him personally. And much of his filmography involves fathers and sons and parents and children in divorce situations. And, if it's not Indiana Jones, if it's not E.T., if it's not whatever, I mean, it's like parents and children dealing with the complications of raising each other. And this movie is pretty much Spielberg looking directly at the camera and saying, I'm serious, this is important to me. And so I actually wonder whose story at this point, given the level of fabulism going on with Frank Abagnale, whose story is this more accurate to? Is this effectively Fableman's 0.5 for Spielberg, or is it more Abagnale's story? I don't think we can resolve that, but I think it's a legitimate question.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right that there's a lot of Spielberg in it, but I don't know if that is... some of it is expanded, because that's one of the things that Frank acknowledged he'd expanded. He says, I never saw my father again after I left. That's I think that it's fair to say that's probably true. It's probably something that happened. He had, I don't know, 3 siblings, I think, and his mom never remarried and didn't have another child with anyone else. And so I think those are the sorts of things we can probably take at face value. And so it does make me wonder, with Spielberg pushing the angle of the father's story and working that in, what are the reasons for that? Because this is Spielberg's first time in his career, his lengthy career full of amazing films, of actually making a story about a real person, which he's done much more since then. But this is the first time. And he felt very... he had to be careful to be as truthful as possible with the elements in front of him. Now, I think the line with a filmmaker is saying, okay, I need to be truthful with the story and the elements in front of me, but there are some elements I'm going to modify because I see some things that I want to pull forward and make more prominent. And who knows, perhaps that father-son connection is something that came out in the book more, even though they never saw each other again. Maybe he and the screenwriter recognized this is something that's clearly important to Frank. Let's find ways to build that up in the story. And, knowing, again, as you said, Spielberg's penchant for telling these stories about broken families and fathers and sons, I think that was something that really probably he connected with a lot, and part of the reason why he probably wanted to emphasize those moments. Hey everybody, this is Andy. You have just heard the opening stretch of our member bonus conversation about Steven Spielberg's Catch Me If You Can, part of our True Lies series, where we follow real people who learned that confidence is a currency, right up until the bill comes due. And much like Frank Abagnale Jr., This is the moment where the story changes outfits, because what you got in the public feed is the charming version, the clean smile, the fast talk, the "I'll be right back with the rest of it." The full conversation, the stuff that goes deeper than the con, where we start pulling on the threads and asking what the movie's really selling, that's in the member feed. If you want to hear the rest, you'll need to become a member at truestory.fm/join. Membership gets you monthly member bonus episodes like this one, including special series picks voted on by members, early access to ad-free episodes across the whole Next Reel family, the Next Reel, the Film Board, Sitting in the Dark, Movies We Like, and CinemaScope. Additional pre-show and post-show segments on select episodes, the extra lists, sidebars, and tangents we keep off the public cut, access to members-only areas inside our Discord community, plus the ongoing film talk in our Show Talk channel. So if this little tease worked on you, congratulations, you just got hustled. Gently, legally, and with your full consent. Head to truestory.fm/join, and I'll spell it out once just to be sure, truestory.fm/join. It's $5 a month or $55 for the year. And that's where we're going to leave you, because unlike a check from Pan Am, this sample does not clear for the full amount. To hear the rest of our Catch Me If You Can conversation, you'll need to join us in the member feed. The Next Reel. When the movie ends, our conversation begins.